Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today we're going to be covering some UK house builders that are on the UK stock market, and I'm a big fan of stocks or house builders that are on the UK in the stock market because a lot of them have decent steady growth, very cheap valuations. Normally when there's not a virus going around, they're paying some good dividends. Obviously a lot of them have cancelled the dividend at the moment, but I think at some point they will go back or get back to paying them. I also think that the housing market it's kind of been like it's fearing that there's not going to be a lot of house sales, but I believe house sales will actually recover quite quick. So I think a lot of them are at decent valuations with some good balance sheets as well. So overall, I'm a big fan of the house builders that are on the stock market in the UK. It's one of the best industries, and I would definitely say it's definitely worth having at least one house builder in your stock market portfolio, in my opinion. Now, in my stock market portfolio personally, I own Barrett Developments, and I'm going to be comparing a lot of the UK stock, a lot of the house builders in the UK in this spreadsheet that I actually put on the Patrons page on Sunday night. So a lot of these guys saw it early. They also get to keep a copy of it, so they know what house builder I was actually going to be buying on Monday. I am going to buy probably two, or I probably would have bought two of this list, and I'll say which two at the end of the video. But I'm going to compare a few of these house builders, and we'll see which is the best UK house builder out there right now. So today we've got Barrett Developments, we've got Persimmon, Taylor Wimpey, Berkeley Group, Redrow, Vistry and MG Gleeson. So those are the house builders that we're comparing today. I'm really sorry if there's one that I did miss off this list, but I kind of went for the kind of 7 most talked about on the channel. So we've got ticker symbol BDEV, BSN, TW, BKG, RDY, VTY and GLE. So when we look at the market cap, I kind of put the green ones down as like I put the two high scorers in green and the worst scorer in the red, but market cap isn't a massive thing. You just kind of get a rough idea of what size of a company we're talking about right here. So the market cap winner on this one was Persimmon on 7.2 billion. Berkeley Group came up in second place at 5.2 billion. And MJ Gleeson, they came at 383 million. They were the last place, so they were in the red. They have a lot less sites they're working on. They've got a lot less employees. So it is a smaller company. Discount for 52-week high. I think this is always good to see which one you can get at a cheaper valuation. Now, obviously, as I always say, don't just buy because it's sold off, because sometimes bad companies are sold off for a reason. So Barrett Developments is down at 44%, Persimmon's down at 30%, Taylor Wimpey 42%, and then we had Berkeley Group, which was the least discounted on 23%, and then we had the joint top two, which was Redrow, which was down 49%, and Vistry, that was down 53%. So those two came out the most discounted stock. Now, P ratio is a good idea to get, how cheap is the company right now. Barrett Developments and Taylor Wimpey came as the top two lowest PE, and then the highest PE was MG Gleeson, which was 13 PE. Berkeley Group was very close at 12.8, but we kind of see that the cheapest stocks to what the price is Barrett and Taylor Wimpey. Now, when we look into the company and how the company's done over the last year, a lot of these figures are taken from pre-COVID-19, which is also a good thing. So you can't use the excuse of like, yeah, that's because of COVID-19. So we can see that earnings wise, Barrett Developments and Vistry were two of the strong companies with earnings growth. Profit growth, once again, Barrett came out with really good profit growth, and MG Gleeson actually had a pretty decent profit. Now, profit margins are also really good to look at, how much of that money they're making is kept in their back pockets. And Persimmon came out on top of 23%, and Berkeley Group came out on 23%, which was pretty healthy profit margins overall. The one with the weakest profit margin was MG Gleeson, and I believe that was probably because they are a bit more of a first-time buyer, a bit more of a lower price for their houses. So obviously, when you're selling houses at a lot less valuation, it's a lot harder to make money on them. So that's probably why they're the lowest ones on here, to be fair. So that kind of makes sense for them to be the lowest ones on here. But Persimmon came out top and Berkeley Group came out top. Revenue growth was Taylor Wimpey on 6% and also Vistry, which was 5%. That's pretty decent, revenue growth. Ideally we want to be looking at house builders putting in about a 5% revenue growth. A little bit less than that is totally fine, but yes, somewhere around there is pretty good. Berkeley Group was the worst performer on negative 28%, so they had a pretty rough 2019 on the revenue growth for sure. Then we'll go to forecast, because obviously we want to be buying companies that are going to be increasing the earnings, increasing the revenue, because if the earnings and revenue are increasing, then obviously the share price is more than likely going to go up, because people are going to think, oh, this company's doing really well, I'm going to buy them shares, and then you make more money on your shares. So earnings wise, year one, we had Taylor Wimpey come out on top, we had MG Gleeson came out on top. Year two, we had Redrow and Vishtry come out on top. In year three, we had Taylor Wimpey and Berkeley Group come out on top. And when we get stuck into the revenue, we had Taylor Wimpey on 28%, was the best performer in year one. And in second place on 23% was Vishtry Group. On year two, we had Redrow and MJ Gleeson come out on top. And in year three, we had Taylor Wimpey and also Berkeley Group come out on top. Now on Analyst price target, what I do on that one is I take the data from Yahoo Finance, see what their analyst price target is, and then also take it from the current price and work out how much upside they think there is on that stock for right now at these sort of prices. So Taylor Wimpey came out on top with Redrow. So Taylor Wimpey had 36%, and then Redrow had 53%. So that was quite a big, massive jump from these sort of prices. So clearly, analysts are very positive on Redrow right now. On dividend, nothing down on dividend, because obviously a lot of them have cancelled the dividend. So there's nothing down there. Balance sheet wise, cash, we had Persimmon had the most amount of cash on 843. And then it was Taylor Wimpey in second place on 630 million. Barrett Developments were really close by 4 million cash. So that was a bit of a close one. They nearly made it on there. Debt, the companies that won this one were the companies that had zero debt, which was Vishtry and MG Gleeson. Debt to equity, same again. The companies that had no debt obviously were the winners on that one. So it was the same companies as the last round. Insiders buying in the last 3 months. There was a few that bought between the 3 to 6 months, but in the actual last 3 months, the only companies that had people buying on the inside, very heavy on Taylor Wimpey, which was 446,000, so they won that point, and MG Gleeson, there was 100,000 on that one bought, which was quite a lot as well. So those were the two companies that had insiders buying over the last 3 months. Diverse revenue, I've put them all down as one because they're all house builders pretty much, so they're all kind of have that kind of one income stream. Great, so the next three go down to actually my own opinion, which is kind of tricky. So obviously you could change this to what you think in case you think you've got a different opinion to me, which is totally fine. But the greater growth from my point of view was Taylor Wimpey, consistently very good growth from them. And then I had to go for MJ Gleeson because same again, they had a lot of decent steady growth in there. Obviously with them being a smaller company, it's a lot easier for them to grow as well. So those were the 2 points for me in that kind of category. Greater management, once again my opinion on this one, but I've gone for Barrett Developments. I think it's a company that's just steadily grown. They've just managed the company very well. We look at like the company itself, even though it hasn't got many greens in this kind of score, it's just a company that's kind of like average in everything. Like it's just doing okay in everything, and that's what you want. You know, it's got decent cash. It's not got the most cash. It's got decent cash. It's not got the best, the debt, but it's not got a lot of debt. It's one of those, it's one of those that's just kind of doing okay everywhere. It's like the one that came third place the most really. So I think overall Barrett have just steadily done okay in the background there. And then also the next one I'd say is Taylor Wimpey, because it's a company that has obviously got the most greens on here, and it's just steadily gone away at its own business once again. But I can easily say there's a lot of arguments that you could make for a few more of these companies for great management overall. So I think in that certain area, you guys could a lot of you guys could have a different opinion to me on that one, which is totally fine. But I'll just give my opinion on it. Same again on Big and Mo, all house builders, so I just left them all the same really. So overall that gave Barrett Developments a total score of 4, Persimmon 5, Taylor Wimpey had the most on 11, Berkeley Group came out on 4, Redrow came out on 4, Vishtry Group came out on 7, and MG Gleeson came out on 7. So Taylor Wimpey was definitely the clear winner, and then joint second place, it was joint between Vishtry Group and MJ Gleeson. So I've also put some positives and negatives down for these companies. So I'll let you kind of go through them yourself rather than me going through every single one. I've also put like Trustpilot scores down for each company. So if they're probably like 4 or above, I put them as a positive. If they're less than 4, I put them as a negative, because obviously when people are reviewing the houses they've got off them, you want them to have a good reputation, talk good about you. So yeah, overall, like with them top scores, there was only really, I think, 2 companies that came out with above 4. I think one of them was Taylor Wimpey and the other one was Redrow. They were the only ones that came out with good Trustpilot scores. But yeah, overall, I'll get to my final opinion about all these house builders. Now, I'm a big fan of the house builder stocks. Like I say, I would have one in your portfolio, and this is just my opinion on every single one. So I'll go from worst to best. So overall, I'd say the worst house builder stock on this list is Berkeley Group. And just because obviously they had the most reds on the group as well. They do have good profit margins, a lot of cash. Trustpilot score wasn't great. There's a lot of debt, and also 2019 was a poor year for them. So overall, in my opinion, they're probably the only ones on this list that I would not invest in. They got overall a score of D, so it wasn't a terrible score. Overall that's not too bad, but I would say a C is investable. B is probably a good stock, and I would say A is a company that you probably definitely will want to have in your portfolio. So yeah, D, obviously that's kind of saying that I would not invest in this company right now. Next up is Persimmon, which got a score of C. So I still rate that company as a buy. Obviously not as high as buy as other companies. Has a very good balance sheet, but I would say there has been a few management problems recently. They've just got a new CEO, but the new CEO was the ex-CEO of National Express, which was a company that did fantastic, don't get me wrong, but when you're buying or getting a new CEO that was in charge of transport, and then you now getting them to be a house builder CEO, a bit of a switch over there, different companies, so I'd be a little bit wary about that one, but overall still a decent company in my kind of opinion. Next up is Redrow, which got B-. Some good growth from this company. The reviews of what people who bought the homes were pretty good. They are slowing the London building down, which I would be very wary about. So I don't know how much that would affect the company. And also it's the one that has the most debt on the balance sheet for a house builder. So yeah, I would say that I would want to buy a house builder mainly based on like because a lot of them don't carry a lot of debt. But yeah, overall it's a B- though, so I'm still saying this company is a buy, just that it's not as good as the other ones in my opinion. And then we've got Barrett Developments, which is the one that I own on this list, which I rated a B at current prices. I think this is just the most steady company out of them all, really. But yeah, at the moment I wouldn't say it's the best one on this list, even though I own it. And then obviously it was tied with Vishtry Group, which was also a B. I would say this is actually probably a little bit better than Barrett Developments, even though they've both got a B. The thing that kind of didn't get why I didn't put this as a higher score is because it currently bought out Galford's Tries Housing Regeneration Program, and it's like kind of merging them together, and that's why growth looks really good. But I mean, is it going to be able to kind of like I'll be just wary about how they're going to merge that together. But yeah, it looks a pretty decent company. I'd say the forecast on the growth haven't really got the COVID-19 in. I think they've been a bit optimistic on the growth side. Obviously there's a low profit margin. The Trustpilot score was low. I believe it was the lowest out there that I did, a 1.6, which obviously is not great. So that's also not getting good reviews of the quality of the houses. But yeah, overall it doesn't look too bad. But for me, there's still a little bit more of a risk with this one, but I think it could still do okay. So yeah, I'd give this one a B, which obviously I still rate as a buy. And in second place was MJ Gleason, which came out with a rating of B+, which is obviously pretty good. That's nearly getting to an A. And yeah, for me, this company has a lot of potential to grow absolutely huge. Obviously, it's affordable housing, which I think will recover a lot quicker than every other kind of houses that are out there. Just because of first-time buyers, it won't matter to them what's going on in the market in general. they just want to buy a house. So I think they will recover a lot quicker. You've got the growth. It's a smaller company, so it will grow a lot quicker than other companies. I would be a little bit wary that there isn't a lot of cash on this one, and also it's a higher P than a lot of these other companies, but there's a lot more potential with this one in my opinion. So yeah, I like this one. It's one that I might pick some shares up, and yeah, it's one that I probably will pick some shares up in. Not a huge position, but I think it just has a lot of potential overall. It's also changed its CEO, which the CEO was on a big salary, so they're actually going to save like 2 million because of the change in the CEO as well. So that will do really well this year. And the CEO they've got in is actually a pretty decent CEO. I can't remember which housing company he used to run. It was a private company, but he used to run another housing company, which was a private company. So the CEO in that's the new one of MG Gleeson, will at least have some experience compared to like getting a new CEO from National Express. And number one on this list is obviously Taylor Wimpey. Insiders are buying quite heavy. It's got decent growth. Trustpilot, it's got good reviews. Been buying a lot of land in lockdown, where a lot of these companies haven't been buying land. It will suffer a lot heavier from COVID-19 than a lot of these companies, so I will definitely be buying some shares. I will be definitely buying some shares in Taylor Wimpey because of the growth that this company will have. So I will buy some shares in Taylor Wimpey. Probably by this video's up, I probably have already bought them. And yeah, I'll probably buy a little bit of a small position in MJ Gleeson as well. But yeah, both of them are pretty decent companies in my point of view. And yeah, Taylor Wimpey at the moment is the best company on this list right now at these sort of prices and on this discount. And that's my review of the UK house builder stocks, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. A lot of time went into making this video, so please just like it for all the time I spent in it. And as always, subscribe if you haven't. I think this could be the longest video on the channel anyway. But yeah, like the video if you haven't, that'd be absolutely amazing. And I'll see you in the next video.